Hi everyone, I'm Ming from MLAstro, and today I'm going to give you a more detailed tour on how do you capture the image and use subcap script to automate the image capture process of the SHG. And with this tool, you can have a more enjoyable and productive experience with your SHG. It will automate the capture process and let you do time-lapse easier. So first thing first, before we do any image capturing, we will have to check for the focus of the SHG. You have done the focus on the ground, but after you put your SHG onto the telescope, you will have to check for the focus on the telescope as well. And the first thing that you will have to check is the collimator focus. It is how you put your slit onto the focal plane of the collimator lens. And to check that, we can look at two features here. First is the edge of the spectral spread here. As you can see, we have two edges on the two sides here and here. These edge should be sharp without any double edge. This edge is very sharp, which indicating a good focus. If you use a smaller sensor and you cannot see the edge on the screen, you can check for those transvolume, those vertical line you can see here. This vertical line are the dust and small defect on the slit. These vertical transvolume should be very sharp also. As you can see here, we have 1, 2 vertical line on this slit, so we have 2 defects. This small defect is inevitable on the slit. Every slit has more or less 1 or 2 of those, and we at MLAstro we do 100 quality check on slit, and we discard all the slit that have big dust or big defect on it. We have a quality standard for slit. For the 7mm slit like this, we will discard any slit that has more than one of such small defect per millimeter. So for a 7mm slit, if this slit has more than 7 small defects like this, it will be discarded. Those transvolume will not affect your image quality when you do image capture, because the software will do a very good job of calibrating those transvolume out of the final image, and you won't see it on the final image. And it even help with identifying the collimator focus. So I'm actually prefer to have some of those small defects on my slit. You can see beside of those sharp, very sharp defect, we have less sharp vertical line. Those probably are the dust that is on the front side of the slit. You can easily clean those out with a lens tissues easily. The second thing that you should check is the focus of the spectrum. As you can see here, for the 8 alpha line, we have the big dark 8 alpha line here, smaller absorption line below it, and I'm usually use this split as the indicator of the spectral focus. If we can see the split well defined, then I will know that spectra is focused well. So now we have our slit focused correctly, and we have our collimator focused correctly. I have my SHG oriented correctly. Now I will start to use the ROI to crop the sensor. I'll increase the exposure to easier see what is going on the screen here. Okay, so now we will slew to find the sun. Okay, I think we have the sun disk here somewhere. No. Okay, I think we have the SanDisk here. Now let's change the exposure down and center the solid disk. Okay, we have the solid disk centered in the frame here. I will change the slew speed down so we have easier navigation. Okay, so as you might already knew, we perform the scan by slewing the mouse back and forth like this, but it required you to keep pressing the arrow key, the mount control, for all the time of the scan, and depending on your slew speed of the mount, you will have to push that button for a long time. For example, if I pick the slew rate at 4 times serial here, you'll see that I have to keep pressing this button for about 30 seconds for each scan, and that is not a fun experience. It is very cumbersome. I have developed a subcap script that help you to automate this capture process. I will leave a link to this script down in the description of this video. As you can see here, this script has 4 user configurable variables. The first is the slew speed factor. Depending on your mount, you can use a customized slew speed. You do not have to use the predefined slew speed over here, but you can also use real number slew speed like this. You can use a 5.52 slew speed, and you have the padded duration. This is the margin that you add to the end and the beginning of the scan, so you'll have extra margin on this image. I usually keep this padded duration short, about 5 or 6 seconds, to make the file size of the scan manageable. If you let this padded duration too big, you will have a very big file size. Sleep time. This is the sleep time that will be added between the cycle. I'm usually use about 60 or 90 second time interval will be the interval between the cycle, and about 60 or 90 second will be a appropriate interval for full disk animation. And of course, the num cycle is the total number of cycles for the script to perform. As you might already know, with the SHG, you will have to match the slew speed, the scanning speed, with the frame rate. For example, I will use this optimal slew speed calculator. To demonstrate the slew speed will affect your frame rate. For example, I use a 600mm telescope and a sensor with the pixel size of 2 micron. If I use the scan speed of 8 times serial, I will have to use to reach a recommended FPS of about 164 FPS. I can reach that by limiting the exposure time here. As you can see, I can no so much. For example, I can use 6.2 millisecond exposure and reach a 156 frame per second. But as you can see, I'm already blown out my image here, and I cannot see any detail with this overexposed image. So generally we can limit the solar flux by using an ERF or a Herschel rims. For this setup, I do not use any ERF, so I will use the frame rate limit on the shortcut. It will limit the maximum frame rate that the video capture will reach. As you can see, if I set it 120 frames per second, it will limit and let the frame rate reach about 103 fps. So to match this fps, I will have to use a customized slew rate. Now let me put a value in here and do a scan so we'll better see how the frame rate and the slew speed affect each other. Now let's do a scan. I will press start here. As you can see, the mount starts slewing and the image capture, the video capture had been started. Okay, after 25 seconds, it will stop the capture and then slew back the other way again, this time without capturing any videos. It's just returning the other side of the sun disk and wait for the capture to start again. Since I put the minus in the slew speed factor here, the mount will slew from the west to the east. If I put a positive number there, it will slew from the east to the west. Okay, so I have completed the first cycle. The script will sleep for 90 seconds before starting a new cycle. Now I will stop the script and I will put the video file that I have just created into the JSolid. And we'll use quick mode, and the JSolid will automatically do the reconstruction without any input from the user. As you can see, the sun now has a rugby ball shape, an oval shape here. This is due to the unmatched scanning and frame rate. As you can see, it has detected XY ratio of 0.69, and this we call it is undersampling, and this is not a good thing. If you are undersampling, you are losing spatial information, losing spatial resolution, because the software have to do some interpolation to stretch the image to match a circular sun. So if you are undersampling, you are losing image quality. If this number is equal to 1, you are sampling one by one, and that is the optimal scenario. If you are have this number over 1, you are oversampling. It will not affect your image quality as much as undersampling, but you will have very big file size due to the oversampling. And to keep the file size manageable, also keep the image quality optimal, I recommend you to keep this XY ratio at 1. It is the optimal. We are slewing it 8 times serial, and we are undersampling about by 0.69, indicating that we have to use a slew speed of 5.52 times serial, and we can do that by just putting 5.52 here. And as you can see, the sun is sitting up to one side of the reconstructed image. This is because we position the sun a little bit to this side of the scan. We have to slew the mount parts a little bit to the side so the sun won't be centered inside the scan. Now let's do that by manually slewing the mount back a little bit. Too much, I think. Okay. Now let's start the scan again. As you can see, the script will automatically calculate the time, the scan duration. So you will only have to care about the padded duration. Okay, so that's it. After complete the scan, the mount will automatically go back the other side. Now we will put the latest video into the processor, and let's see what we got this time. As you can see, this time the sun disk, after reconstruction is very round. This is a good indicator slew speed and FPS ratio. As you can see, we have XY ratio of 1. This is a very good number, and it will give you optimal image quality. Okay, so the script is sleeping for 90 seconds, and it will restart the capture after this sleep time. Please be noted that when the mouse is moving, do not touch any of those arrow key, because if you touch one of those, the mouse will stop moving and the script will keep capture. Your scan will fail. So if that happens, just stop the script, slew the other way, and do the capture again. Now we can scan from both sides of the sun. Let's see. I can scan from this side of the sun. Just reverse the slew speed factor and then start the scan. Voila. The scan will go in from the other side this time. Okay, so that was everything I think you should know about the capture process. I'll give you another tutorial over how to stack the image and process them later. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and clear sky. Goodbye.